What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny. Here today, we'll be reacting to the great speaker, Malcolm X. In my opinion, Malcolm X is the most realistic black leader in American history. But let's get into this video. It's if you vote Democrat, you are a traitor to your race. Malcolm X said it, not me. So let's get into it.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections.
Before he continues, there's one thing I noticed with a lot of things Malcolm X talk about. It's still relevant today, right? It shows you that the Democratic playbook, politics doesn't change. Just how they go about it is what changed, right? And here he was pointing out to his fellow Americans that they had a significant advantage because at the time the country was so divided amongst the white Americans, right? Because we're going to use his terminology for this video, that it was like by slight majority that they barely get anything through. And Democrats saw the black community as this is a way for us to gain an advantage over the Republicans. And this is what started the Democrats to start marketing towards the black community. But Malcolm X was always skeptical of the white liberal. You can see it across on YouTube. He's very skeptical of them because he calls them a sly fox, right? Which a fox represents trickery, cunning, conniving. That's how he viewed the Democratic Party, while he viewed the Republicans more as wolves. Like, they show you their intentions. Hey, we don't want to give you special treatment. Okay, he had more respect for that. But for the Democrats, he was always weary of them. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's not talked about in schools, at least in the public school today.
They see that the whites are so evenly divided that every time they vote, the race is so close, they have to go back and count the votes all over again. And which means that any block, any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it.
One thing this was made in 1964, and the black community today, I believe, since Malcolm X passed on, Martin Luther King passed on, I believe the black community squandered this advantage, right? I think the black community overplayed their hand because now with the Democrats, today's politics, and you're gonna hear it. I don't know if I'm the first person to point this out, but Democrats been focusing heavily on the Hispanic vote, on immigration, and that is essentially the Hispanic immigration is a threat to this coalition of the black vote. And you see it even today that a lot of the Democrats cater more to the Hispanics because the Hispanic vote they have to fight for, because I believe they vote 60-40, 60% Democrat, 40% Republican, while in the black community is 90-10, 90% Democrat, 10% Republican. As for the 2020 Census Bureau, that's where I'm getting my information from. So the Democrats have to fight harder for the Hispanic vote than they do for the black vote, because in the black vote, they're like, oh, you guys are in my pocket. Like, all I have to do is say some nice things, hot sauce in my purse, Hillary Clinton, and they're going to vote for me, right? All I have to do is make the Republicans the bad guy and they'll vote for me, right? And this was Malcolm X's message. Malcolm X's message was like, hey, we better get something for our vote. And for too long, black people got conditioned to this dependence on the Democratic Party, which started in 1964 when I believe Jim Crow, I don't know who passed the Civil Rights Act at that time, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I think the black community squandered its advantage here, because now I think in the first time we got eclipsed by the Hispanic community. Like, the Hispanic community is like 14% of the population, and they breed like crazy, and our population is declining. I can get more into that later in the video.
You're in a position to determine who'll go to the White House and who'll stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You can keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. You're the one who sent Kennedy to Washington. You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House.
So at the time it was 80% in 1964. Now it's 90, right? And my thing is, we no longer have that advantage because there's other minority groups before. Now, current Democratic Party has no incentive to change their current strategy, which is just pander, virtue signaling. And what I mean by virtually signaling is, oh, let's make Juneteenth a holiday instead of actually fixing an actual problem. Let's make it something easy with no effort that we can pass to make us look like we care about you, but we're not really doing anything to actively empower you to actually be able to do anything for yourself. Because to me, the Democratic policy is just to be dependent on the state. It's statism. If you know what statism is, research it. Is eventually you want to make the government the central control of everything. And that hasn't worked too well because government was the one that maintained slavery because it was a central power and they determined, hey, you don't have no rights. At that point, as a black person, I would think you don't want the government to have more control. But how they spin it, they say, hey, we can make the government for good, but you can make it for evil. So why leave that? Why give an entity that can be corrupted by certain individuals in power? Why would you want it to have power in the first place? You'd rather not have it at all. But hey, this is a trade-off you make when you get involved in the government. You either become dependent on them or you become an opposition. And the current Democratic platform, a lot of black people feel comfortable just, hey, the government should give me free health care. Government should be subsidizing my lifestyle. But like a great saying say, if they can feed you, they can starve you. So there's a trade-off you always make. There's no perfect policy. There's always a trade-off you're making. And I kind of want to put that message out there. What you guys think? Let me know in the comment section.
When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote.
What did you get out of it? Especially if you're a black person or if you know a black friend and they vote heavily Democrat, ask them, hey, what do you get out of it, out of your vote? And I bet you it's a bunch of, I get this, I get it's just cash and prizes. Okay, but how is that helping you in the long run? Because early on, before welfare, I'll use welfare as my go-to example for this. Before welfare, black community was a rising class in America, the fastest rising class out of any immigrated group in America, right? And before they got to a point where they can be self-sustaining, right? And they were already somewhat self-sustaining. There was business owners like that. In my opinion, culturally, that's when Black America was at its best. And then they came in with welfare, essentially incentivizing single parenthood, and look at the end result now. Because a single mom in America, regardless of race, if you're a single mom, statistically, you're the poorest household in America, a single mom. So Black community has 76% single mother rate. Is it no wonder that we're in the poorer communities, right? And then if you flip it, let's go to the Asians. Asians have a low single motherhood rate, and they're the richest minority group in America. It's not coincidence. It's not because of their race. It's because of their choices. That's my opinion here. You can disagree, agree. I'm just telling you how I see it. I'm not teaching you what to think. I'm teaching you how to think. I'm just giving you my side.
They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first, and they put you last.
And that's true. In my opinion, that's true, right? And this is one of the arguments I have of trying to get more Black people to start voting Republican. Because end of the day, the way the Democratic Party is currently set up right now, they're not incentivized to change their playbook because you always reward them with a vote, right? LeBron James out here, when he was campaigning for Hillary Clinton, I think Joe Biden as well, these people don't do anything for you. All they do is pander to you. LeBron James can afford them not to do anything for him because he's already rich. But that's not the majority of the Black community, right? So they put these leaders. This is why Al Sharpton is still relevant, even though he's not a preacher or nothing. It's because they know, hey, you can talk to them. you correlate them, and what's in it for Al Sharpton? He gets to hang around. He gets to hang around with. He gets to feel important. He gets to be with the limousine liberals that he complains about because he's madder, right? Al Sharpton has a conflict of interest because his whole career resides on the fact that racism has to be still a problem. So how can I rely on somebody whose whole career, whose whole relevance relies on the fact that there's racial inequality? Do you think he'll actually push to like absolve it completely? No, because he wants to keep it going. He wants to keep the wheels turning. So he's probably gonna find other reasons to be, oh, there's racism here, police brutality. When white people are killed more by police than black people, and most black people that are killed are criminals. They have a criminal record, armed, and a consistent theme with these altercations is the black person's trying to resist arrest. It's not going to go well if you're trying to resist arrest. Nothing goes well when you make someone else's job harder. If you go to a retail worker and you make their life a living hell, you're not going to get the best customer service. I'm sorry. It's the truth. It's human nature. We're all flawed. We're all of us. So to expect another human being to be better than how you would react in the same situation, it's being just ingenuous at this point.
Because you're a chump.
And this is this line, you're a chump. Like, do you think black people are chumps today? Because I believe they are. How are you going to keep rewarding a party that lets you down time and time again? Charlemagne the God did a interview with Joe Biden. Joe Biden was wagging his finger at him. You better listen to me, boy. If you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black, essentially. Because he said, if you have a problem voting between me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black. Insinuating that your whole identity is based on the fact that you vote for me. How crazy is that? Is that's not the most chumpish like stuff? And he still did it. And now, a few years later, he want to go talk to Kamala. He wants to go argue with Kamala Harris on some interview. I forget. You not Google it. Search it up. Charlemagne the God with Kamala Harris, and he actually questioned her. And he wants to complain. Oh, who runs the White House? Joe Biden or Joe Manchin? Right? And then Kamala, kind of put him in his place because you can't complain. Like you had reservations about him. Oh, I'm voting for Joe Biden because Kamala's vice president. And then the same woman you said your vote was tied to, you're complaining about her too. You look like a chump. And how are you supposed to get any respect from a political party acting that way? When people are dependent on welfare, the government, and Democratic Party, that's their platform, they'll still vote. Because end of the day, the reason why black people voted heavily Democratic was for economic reasons and economic reasons only. And I believe that if economics wasn't a problem in the black community, like if we were in the poor communities, there's no way in hell we'll be voting 90% Democrat. We'll probably be more like how the Hispanic vote, 60-40. Because a lot of the problems that black people face are economics. That's my opinion. Because if you wasn't poor, because I'm relatively like middle class, and I don't worry about some of the stuff my friends worry about. If you come from a poor neighborhood, you have less opportunity there. But let's say if there was a 2-parent household, even if you guys are not making much money, the combined money will at least make your household middle class, and you won't be susceptible to the problems that's associated with poor communities. Because to me, it doesn't matter if you're black or white. If you come from a poor community, the environment essentially is incentivizing a certain amount of behavior. Oh, go to drugs, crime, get involved in gangs. That's something every poor community has. It's not just racially exclusive. But black people take that on as like all the bad things, all the negative stereotypes. Black people associate with that and wear it with pride. But if you act anything outside of that, they'll cast you as an Oreo. You're trying to be white. Like, no, I'm like, and I always had this problem because growing up, my mom and my father, they put it in my head, hey, you're not an African American, you're Haitian. Like, take pride from where you come from. And that made my own identity. So when I talk proper English, they were like, yo, why are you trying to act white? I was like, how speaking proper English is white? That's a skill. That's not a characteristic. That's not something that's will be associated with your skin color. And this is the kind of game the Democrats did. And that's part of their marketing, I believe, is that they want to associate your blackness with a specific action. hey, you have to fall into the stereotype or you're not black. And that's the message that the Democratic Party market to black people. And 90% of them believe it. You ain't black if you're not from the hood. If you come from a well-off family, you're considered less than. Imagine that. Who's the authority of determining what a blackness is? Let me know if you know who that is. Who determines blackness? It's something you just are. It's not something someone gives to you. I always found that a little bit annoying, but enough about me. Let's get back to Malcolm X.
A political chump. In Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, there are 257 who are Democrats. Only 177 are Republican. In the Senate, there are 67 Democrats. Only 33 are Republicans. The party that you bash controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives in the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you.
Still can't keep your promises. Look at Joe Biden. Look at the state of the union right now. Democrats control every branch of government from the Senate, the House, and the presidency. And what has they done for you? If you're a Democratic voter, what have they done for you? What results they given you? It seems to me they gave you more problems. Short-term gain for long-term pain. The stimulus check. Oh, everyone loved getting the stimulus check. Oh my God, he's going to forgive student loan debt. And then in the long term, you're suffering more for it. Right? It's either you suffer now or you suffer later. You can't just hawk off suffering. Like there's a cause and effect. You get something for free that you didn't work for, you didn't produce. There was no exchange of value there. You just got it for free. It's going to increase inflation. It's like common economics, basic economics. You get something for nothing, and then there's a reaction there. But hey, sometimes people don't think past what they need at the moment. That's what I'm saying. That's why I believe a lot of black people's problems are tied to economics, not racism, economics. That's my opinion.
Because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
Ooh. Boy, when he was talking, it sounded like he was talking about LeBron James. Who else? Al Sharpton, Roland Martin. To me, all these dudes are race hustlers. They try to make black people one issue voters, and this is what the Republican Party needs to fight against. And you see why Malcolm X wasn't taught in schools. Because remember, I have this opinion, I have this belief and it's not a belief, it's fact that majority of teachers are registered Democrats. Democrats are heavily favored by the teachers unions. They control education. Democrats put their little playbook in there. You don't learn history, like you get political indoctrination as education in public schools, because the Democratic Party is behind the teachers unions, and the teachers unions work with the Democratic Party. And this guy, his views are not too favorable to the Democratic Party. So when Black History Month comes on, you don't hear much about Malcolm X. Maybe you hear his general talks, but stuff that he specifically point out a specific party, you won't hear about it. But let you guys know what you think about this video. I really enjoyed it. I really like Malcolm X. If I had to personify my belief in the Democratic Party, is what Malcolm X stated there. That if you vote 90% for a party and it does nothing for you, you're a political chump. It's like giving you free lunch money and you don't eat anything out of it. But let me guys know what you think. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.